Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for our 2021 online AgCareers Expo. We do want to just take a moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are here with us today. My name is Melanie Moeller. I'm the marketing manager from RuralBiz Training, and it's a pleasure to be here today. I extend a very warm welcome to all of our speakers today, and to all of our teachers and students who are joining us, some of whom are remote learning, some of whom always remote learn because they live in rural and remote areas of Australia. We really hope that you enjoy our presentation today. If you've got any questions after, please don't hesitate to get in touch. A couple of quick housekeeping matters. Each of our presenters will take questions at the end of their presentation, but if you could please just pop your questions into the chat box because we have muted all of our participants' microphones today. If you haven't already, you'll see that we've got that lucky door prize. You can pop open that little purple tab at the bottom right of your screen, click on the chat box, which is a speech bubble one, and enter in your school name to go in the draw to win that fabulous, pretty fab looking drone with a HD camera. We'll draw that at the end. If you have any trouble putting your questions in, feel free to send questions through to me after the event. I'll do my best to answer them or forward them on to the presenter and get them to contact you directly. Our first speaker today is Berntsen, who's a farm business analyst with Aggregate Consulting. Aggregate provides a unique service that combines benchmarking data, farm economics and finance with the science of production systems to help their clients improve their profitability and productivity. Erica, are you there?
I hope so. Can everyone hear me?
Can you see that there, Erica?
I can.
Great. Go for your life.
Thank you. Good morning, all. My name is Erica. I am the Farm Business Analyst at Aggregate, and I'm going to give you an overview of salaries and conditions in the agricultural sector. As Melanie said, if you have any questions during this presentation, please put them in the chat and I will address them at the end. Before we get into that, though, a little bit about us at Aggregate. Aggregate is a consulting business providing benchmarking services to nearly 200 farming operations, including beef, sheep, and cropping enterprises. Each year we gather and benchmark all farm financial data, including salaries, which is important for today. Today we're going to look at the types of roles in the agricultural sector and the total package benefits to assist you guys with identifying the roles you would like to target in the ag sector. Firstly, I would like to touch on a survey that took place a few years ago conducted by Holmes & Sackett, where we asked participants their views on the agricultural industry as a workplace. When asked what they most liked about working on farm, work environment was most often mentioned. The variety of work able to be undertaken, the challenges that were presented in the role, and the lifestyle it provided. And finally, the tangible results that they were able to produce. As with any career choice, there are many aspects to consider beyond remuneration. Consider the opportunities to upskill and progress within your career when assessing job opportunities. You may not currently be qualified for a managerial role, but if that's what you're aspiring to be, then consider what the role can offer you regarding experience building your skill set. For the purpose of our data collection, we have defined that there are two main types of positions in the agricultural sector, managerial and operational. It is important to note that farm roles can be diverse and can be different depending on the structure of the business and the diversity of the enterprises. Managerial roles comprise of the manager, assistant manager, and overseer. The manager is responsible for finance management, planning and strategic direction, technical and production decision making, as well as employee coordination and recruitment. The assistant manager may take responsibility for certain operations within the business and assist the manager in their duties as well as their day-to-day role requirements. The overseer supervises and coordinates the activities of employees. On the operational side of things, there are senior station hands, jackaroos and gillaroos, as well as other supportive positions such as farm secretaries, cooks, gardeners, nannies, maintenance staff, mechanics, and others. Senior station hands assists with training staff in addition to their normal duties. Station hand is a technical and hands-on working role, working along with livestock and machinery. Jackaroos and gillaroos are less experienced staff who are learning the duties of a station hand. All the roles mentioned could be roles in which you may have the opportunity to progress your career. I hope everyone can see all of these numbers clearly enough. So this graph compares our aggregate rolling 3-year average total data package to ABARES weekly total package earnings in some of the biggest employee industries here in Australia. As you can see, the green bars are the positions previously mentioned in our aggregate figures, and the blue bars are comparable industries and their weekly earnings. It is important to note that these are total packages, not just your salary packet that you take away at the end of the month. There are 2 main points to take away from this graph. The first is that positions in agriculture are competitive to other industries. The second is, as responsibility increases, so do the average weekly earnings. It is important to remember that positions cannot just be valued by their base salaries. The blue bars in this graph represent the base monetary salary associated with the position, while the green bars are the total package value. Now, total package value can include, but is not limited to, superannuation and overtime, which you'd probably get in other positions also, but it could also include vehicle benefits, which is the use of work vehicles and a fuel allowance, housing benefits such as rent allowance, phone and electricity and gas, and other benefits such as school fees, working dog allowance and training fees. The proportion of the other benefits that make up the total package increases as the position requires more responsibility into managerial positions. That is when the extra benefits such as accommodation or vehicle use become more likely to be part of a package. In conclusion, farming positions have salaries that are competitive to other industries, especially in managerial positions. Total package value is important as non-monetary benefits tend to increase with responsibility. When considering a position, you need to be mindful of the workplace and what it can offer you beyond the salary. Thank you for listening, and does anyone have any questions?
Thanks so much, Erica. It's really interesting just how much of salaries in agriculture can be included, like non-salary value, I guess, in some roles in agriculture. That's really quite significant, isn't it?
I find that it is quite amazing, because I'd say as like a jackaroo or a gillaroo or a station hand down here, can I draw on there? Yeah, so down here you'd probably have allowances for your working dogs and things like that, whereas up here you'd have more sort of responsible kind of allowances such as use of farm vehicles and stuff for your personal errands.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I'm just going to put up a little question here, and just to see from our participants, do you think that the non-salary benefits are important? We'll just see what our students think today. So we'll just see how this goes. And we do have a couple of things. Yeah, so Sarah's just commenting some people get cars and phones and things like that. So yeah, as so far, the overwhelming response is that yes, it's really important. And there are such a broad range of careers in agriculture these days that you could be working in an office in an agribusiness, in Sydney or in Brisbane, or you could be out on a station in the Territory as a gillaroo, and obviously the salary and benefits are quite different there. So thanks so much for that. Like, it's really, really interesting. And one thing that's really important to note too is that those salaries are quite competitive. I don't think that sometimes people think that agriculture is a bit of a poor cousin in terms of the income that you can earn, but it's really quite competitive, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, where it sits compared to, you know, manufacturing, retail, healthcare, those kind of industries.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, obviously within those sectors there are similar sort of positions, but yeah, it's quite interesting to see the spread of the different positions over different industries, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Erica, for your time today and for sharing this information with us and the students who are attending. We really hope that it shows people that, you know, a career in agriculture is rewarding financially, as well as just the lifestyle and personal benefits that you can get from working in ag.
Absolutely, yes. And if anyone wants to know anything more, I'm happy to try and help out. I've been in the ag industry basically since I was born, so I've sort of worked up the roles, and then I came over and did university as a mature age student. So there's more than just one pathway to get into agriculture, which I think some people forget sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different education options and career options and ways to work yourself through the industry that it's really just, the opportunities are endless. So thank you so much for that, Erica.
My pleasure. I hope everyone enjoyed.
Okay. So we are going to keep moving. Thank you so much. We will see you again soon. Our next speaker today is from Elders. We have Melanie Rowse, who's the HR business partner from Elders Australia. Elders is one of Australia's most recognised, well-known agribusinesses and is diverse across such a broad area of the industry, and has been offering their services in Australia for, I think it's close on 180 years now, or just over 180 years. So, Melanie, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Melanie.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Absolutely, we can.
Okay, great. Yes, that's right. So, in fact, 182 years. It was our birthday just last week, so we've been around quite a long time. So, happy birthday, Elders.
Happy birthday, Elders.
So, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And this is my second year back presenting here, so it's great to be back again. And can't quite believe that 12 months is flown by. It's yeah, unbelievable. But as Melanie said, my name is Melanie Rowse, and I'm HR business partner with Elders. I'm based in Brisbane, and in my role, I'm fortunate to work across all of Queensland, the top part of Northern Territory, and in New South Wales, which unfortunately we can't get across the border at the moment, but I certainly look forward to getting back into New South Wales once we can. And as mentioned, I've been with Elders for, well, this is my second presentation, so it's about 18 months now, and it's an amazing organisation to work for, and there's lots that has been happening. And I suppose one of the highlights for me has been seeing large parts of the drought being broken. So, you know, very happy clients with lots of big smiles on their faces. So it's a wonderful part of my job that I get to see as well. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about entry-level career programs that we have at Elders, and as well as some career pathways that we have available once you're in the job with Elders. But before we do that, we'll take a little bit of a step back and talk about who we are. So Elders has obviously been integral to the Australian agriculture industry for the past 182 years, and as mentioned, we turned 182 last week. Our people are what makes our business so successful, and our passion and dedication to our clients and the agricultural industry are certainly integral to that. We do have a number of programs that nurture and develop young talent to build a career with Elders, and I'll touch on those soon. So looking back at our history, way back in 1839, Alexander Elder, who was our founder, set up shop in South Australia after sailing all the way from Scotland. And after going through various different changes and business names and mergers over the year, including IXL, which is, for me, most famous with jams, and in that time it included running Carlton United Brewery, so that's a bit of a shame we don't have that one anymore. We've also had a dabble in the forestry and automotive industries, but in 2009 we were returned to a pure ag company as Elders Limited, and that's who we are and where we're at today. So our vision is to be Australia's leading agricultural business, creating value for all stakeholders in Australian and international markets. And last year, we were fortunate enough to be crowned the #1 agribusiness in Australia, and hopefully that's a title that we will hold on to this year. It's something that we're certainly all very proud of here with our elders. So we have approximately 500 points of presence across Australia and continuing to grow. There's over 2,000 employees Australia-wide, with our head office based in Adelaide. So we exist in every state and territory in Australia in a mix of traditional Elders branches, real estate franchises, as well as businesses that we have acquired over the years that still operate under their existing trading names. So our 8-point plan is our strategic plan for the next 3 years. This is the third plan our CEO, Mark Allison, is delivering, and it outlines all our strategic priorities over the next 3 years. And you'll see our enablers, point 7 there, is to attract, retain and develop the best people in agriculture. And we believe that our training programs that we have on offer certainly help to build on that goal. So Elders as a business overview. There are certainly many different aspects to our business. One of, I guess, the most renowned are our agency services, so our livestock, wool and grain, followed by real estate. So I'm based in Brisbane, and quite often when I talk to people about, oh, I work for Elders, they're like, oh, Elders real estate. So it's, everyone has their fixed view on what Elders does, and certainly in the capital cities, all of what we seem to do is real estate. So it's a bit mind-boggling when I explain to them that we're a lot more than real estate, but it certainly does make up a big part of our business. So we have our digital and technical services as well, financial services, our retail products, which is our merchandising, financial services, and food and processing. So you can see there just from our business overview that there's a lot of different pathways into Elders, just looking at that snapshot. So looking at our more entry level, we have our graduate agronomy program. So this is a pathway open to recent graduates that are tertiary qualified or almost tertiary qualified in ag or ag sciences. And it's a 2-year fixed program where you'll rotate potentially once or twice, depending on the crop segments or on the segments that you wish to focus on. And you will work with clients on farm as well as with our experienced agronomists in-house, with the goal to end up as a full-time sales agronomist somewhere in the network. We certainly have people in our current graduate programs that have gone from Victoria into Queensland or across to Western Australia. So there's the doors certainly open with the agronomy program, depending on where people's preferred segments lie, or we certainly try to accommodate facilitating that growth and exposure for people. So we have our livestock traineeship program. So it's also known as the Stock and Station Training Program. So this is a fixed term 18-month opportunity with a minimum 1 rotation, generally in the home state that you come from or the state that you prefer to be in. And you'll gain exposure to, I guess, different environments and different selling techniques with the aim to move into what we call a territory sales manager within the 18-month period. So the minimum criteria, I suppose, to apply for this program is to have an understanding of the livestock industry and have natural relationship building capabilities. The third I guess, entry-level program that we have, and this one is only available in Queensland currently, but it's a Rural Products Cadet program. So we are looking to roll this out in other states, but at the moment we're piloting it in Queensland, and this is a true entry-level program with no skills required. We train you in one single location about selling merchandise either in-store or on-road or both, and then learning everything in between that as well. So at the end of the 12-month training program, our aim is to have you in a branch operating as a rural products sales rep. So Elders is a sales business, so everyone who joins us in one of our core positions in the network needs to, I suppose, understand that and have the passion and desire to operate in a sales environment. There are targets that have to be met, which is the Elders business, and that's how we make our money. So all of this is covered in the training and development that we have built into these programs, but that's just the base level understanding, I suppose, of what we look for these positions as someone that does want to succeed in a sales environment, as well as that strong focus on relationships. Talking to people and building a connection is what we do and what we love. So that's something that we want in our people as well. Some of the other career options that we have available, so branch management roles, livestock managers, rural products, more seniors, our area manager and our state roles. In Adelaide, we have a number of finance roles, business development, we have marketing, obviously HR, we have safety. There's certainly no limits on, I guess, where you can go in a career with Elders. And so I'll just get to you, Melanie, to now play this
Elders
video.
as a brand, it's nationwide. It's one of the most recognisable brands in the agriculture sector. The minute you pull on that pink shirt, it doesn't matter where you're based or what you do, we're one Elders. We're one company. We're there to support each other. We're there to support our clients, and we're there to produce the best possible outcomes.
The thing that has kept me coming back and working with Elders for the last 14 years is really about the people. We have a great team here in Dubbo, and I really enjoy coming to work with them every day. We've got a really good culture within our branch. We very much focus on teamwork, trying to keep things positive. We're all part of the team. We're all here to support each other.
The relationship building within the company is always very, very strong. New people come into the business, they start out as work colleagues, but it's not too much longer before really the amount of times we spend together, they become family.
We really work hard to exceed client expectations. We work with honesty and integrity, and that's really important. Going above and beyond for those clients, so at the end of the day they just go, wow, you know, I couldn't have asked for more. We've got everything that we needed from Elders.
We can go 1, 2 and 3 steps further for our clients, and we can offer the farm supplies, we can offer the insurance, we can offer the finance. So it's all about teamwork.
There's something good going on with the pink shirt when there's so many people within the network that are around for such a long time. It's a very recognisable and established brand, and so something that we're proud to be a part of.
Thank you. So there are many career pathways open to Elders. It's up to you, I guess, to decide where you want to go. We've had people that have applied for our livestock training program that have ended up in rural products and then ended up specialising in livestock production, sales support officers that end up as branch managers. So there really is quite a number of different pathways that you can go down. So finally, our staff at Elders enjoy a great number of benefits working for us, including discounts at a wide range of retailers, staff accounts at your local branch, access to yearly bonuses and salary reviews, access to various training and development opportunities, an employee share scheme, flexible work arrangements, and a number of health and wellbeing benefits offered through our employee assistance program. So for more information on Elders and I guess the roles that we have on offer, definitely follow us on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect and reach out via that platform as well. So thank you. Does everyone have any questions?
Thanks so much, Melanie. It's great to see all the stuff that Elders are doing across the country. I've got a quick question. Do you know off the top of your head, sort of what's the volume in terms of intake that you're taking into the traineeship programs and the Rural Cadets program, just on average?
Yeah, so the states have a budget, I suppose, of around 2 per program.
Yeah.
However, we do, depending on the applicants and the need that we have in the business at the time, we can look to take on more than that. It's just about the planning that goes in behind the scenes, I suppose, and looking at the succession planning and where people are moving to, that we might look at bringing people on at various times throughout the year. So the Rural Products Cadet Program in Queensland has 4, so hopefully we'll be able to get that program off the ground across the country, because it's certainly a really good stepping stone into the ag industry.
And are there particular times of the year that students should have a look at the website for these programs to open up and to be able to register?
Yeah, absolutely. So our graduate agronomy program opens up in July. So we've currently got that program open at the moment with applications to close on the 1st of August. Our stock and station trainee program generally goes live in December or January. And then rural products is sort of just as a rolling as needs basis. There's no set time for that.
Yeah, right. So the livestock program sounds like it would be something that, what was the qualifications requirement for livestock? Just to have some experience in background in livestock? Did you have qualifications at that level?
No qualifications, just a background and understanding in working with livestock. Generally, people come in with a preference for sheep or cattle, and we kind of help people grow and develop based on that initial interest area. But there's no minimum qualification or anything like that. It's all on the job after that.
Okay, great. But obviously, they could study as they go along and progress their career.
Most definitely, and there's so many training opportunities available to people once they're in that training program as well. It's just, who you meet and where your interest lies. You can really follow your nose, follow your career as to where you want it to go.
Carina Christian School just asked, Melanie, is the stock and station traineeship available to students who are Year 10 school leavers?
Generally, it depends. We'll certainly look, but generally we take people that are sort of maybe a couple of years out and had a bit of experience working, whether it be on property, in feedlots, that type of background. But we certainly do. We look at everyone, and depending on the need of the branches at the time, we've taken on people sort of in that 17-year age group before.
Yeah, right. Sorry, Zara has asked a question for Melanie and Erica. She's just thanked you for your presentations. Quick question, in terms of getting into ag in the first place, do you recommend university, colleges or TAFE, or how did you find yourself in agriculture? Where did you start, Melanie?
For me, I just kind of applied, like I've been working in HR for a long time, and the job with elders came up. I come from a rural background, so for me it made sense. Elders made sense. I've been around elders my whole life. So seeing the job, it was just a natural fit for me. But you don't need to come from an ag background. You don't need to have any minimum qualifications, I don't think, to get in. It's just finding the right opening for you and where your interest lies, and pursuing your career in the direction that is most natural to you. And if that ends up taking you into an organisation like Elders, again, depending where you want to go and what you want to do in your career, then just follow it, make your connections. So if you know someone in ag, feel free to connect with me, and we can keep talking. And that's certainly a really great way to get into the ag industry. It's certainly about relationships and building your own network, so that always helps too.
And the applications for the traineeship, is these opportunities available via the Elders website?
Yes, and on LinkedIn. All of our jobs are on LinkedIn. If you go onto our LinkedIn page, you actually see a little a heading called Jobs. So if you follow our LinkedIn, that should pop all those jobs up, but you can certainly go back there and have a look and you'll see what roles we have on offer, but also via our website.
Yeah, great. I'll put those links in when I send the recording out to you all. One other question that comes up a lot, Mel, is that if students were interested in doing work experience with elders, is that something that's an option? And if so, do they just contact the local branch in their region and have that discussion with them?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's pending whether the branch can provide the meaningful work experience. You know, all of our branches love to help out where they can, and some people just don't necessarily have the capacity to do it, and we want to make sure that if we're taking on work experience people, they're getting a meaningful experience in an elders branch. But certainly reach out to your local elders branch if you're interested in undertaking some work experience.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Melanie. I think we're just about out of time. There's the responses from that poll. I just asked people where they'd like to start their career in ag. A lot of people with training or university, some straight onto the farm, working on farm station, having a gap year, and some there for traineeships. So that's interesting. Thank you so much, Melanie, for joining us today. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And if anyone has any questions, just send them through after, and we will share that information after the event. Our next speaker is from a company that's been around almost as long as Elders. From humble roots in a fruit shop, Costa's grown to be one of Australia's largest horticulture employers in Australia. I'd like to welcome Fiona Bell, the HR Manager for Costa Group. You there, Fiona?
Yes, I'm just getting my video up. It should be up shortly.
Yep, we can see you. Welcome.
Excellent. Hi, how are you, everyone?
Really well, thanks for joining us. You're enjoying the working from home?
Yep, I'm in Melbourne, so this is my home office.
So hopefully it won't, hopefully lockdowns won't last too much longer, but you're not alone. Lots of people working from home at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. I think many are in the same position, and certainly across the states there's certainly a few restrictions in place that we all got to manage and work around at the moment. So we're all in this together. Excellent.
I'll mute myself and let you take it away.
Lovely. Thank you very much for having me, everyone. My name is Fiona Bell. I'm the National HR Operations Manager at Costa. I've been working here for about 10 years. So I've had the opportunity to grow up with Costa, really. So I've had the opportunity of really experiencing what Costa has to offer in terms of careers and opportunities. Today what I'd like to do is take you through a little bit of background about who we are as Costa and what opportunities and development options we've got, as well as working for us at Costa. So Costa started in humble beginnings. About 130 years ago, there was a little fruit shop in Geelong, and that's how we began selling fresh fruit and vegetables, as well as providing supply chain solutions to, independent retailers and some supermarkets at that time. We've built up now to right around Australia, except for the Northern Territory, as well as some international operations, which I'll show you a little bit of a map later on. We employ about 7,000 people at our peak season time. So fruit and vegetables, you can imagine, are quite seasonal. We do have our produce that is all year round, for example, tomatoes in the glass house, mushrooms and bananas. But most of our produce is seasonal. So we do have many people come and work for us around the different regions, and obviously dependent on which region we're in, that can extend our season time as well. Some people might be familiar with the Costa name, Frank Costa, who unfortunately recently passed. So he was one of the sons, and he was also president of the Geelong Football Club. And his motto was very much train for, hire for character and train for skill. And that's very much followed that culture from his example, and his people first mentality has really followed throughout in the history of Costa. So, you know, that culture hasn't changed, and I think that's saying something with 130 years of a business, that we still very much have that people first and care for people mentality. So this slide talks a little bit, we talk about well grown. So what we're really looking to do with our sites is ensure that we nourish Australia with quality produce. So the future really is food, and that's something that we want to make sure is we provide affordable and nutritious produce that is at its best for the people in our community. So some of the categories that we talk about there that we're across: berries, mushrooms, tomatoes, citrus, grapes, avocados and bananas. They are all so different when we talk about growing and farming that produce. And it's so exciting in my career, certainly, when I've worked for the different categories, the differences in growing and farming that produce. It's so important because there's so many opportunities within that itself. There's the research, there's the growing mechanisms, there's the equipment, there's the pest and the disease. If you go to the glass house, we've got 20 hectares of tomatoes that are on a vine 20 meters in the air, growing out of a very small substrate box. So it's so unique, each category, and it's so interesting to see. And the people are just really passionate. That's one thing I'll never get over when I go visiting the sites. It's like it is their own farm. The other arm that we've got is our logistics and supply operations. So we ship out and supply the different retail sectors around the country as well. So we are in about 60 locations around Australia. And like I said, our varieties generally flow through what grows the best in that region. We also are in Morocco and China, and we export a lot of our citrus and also some of our avocado varieties at the moment. One area that's really important to us that we've been focusing on in the last couple of years is sustainable commercial farming. And down the bottom of that slide, you'll see our focus areas and pillars that we are actively working on. Water, climate change, waste. A lot of the, we can leverage off our different categories in terms of sustainability as well. So what might be waste in one category is actually compost, or, you know, an important growing mechanism in another category. So again, this is where we link into research and knowledge and always developing our understanding and finding out new ways of doing things. So that is a really big opportunity for graduates, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Career opportunities. So it's so vast, it really is. And a lot of people think of farming and they think of your standard opportunities in terms of just simply growing the product, but there's so much more. You know, obviously that's the first line there, horticultural and agronomy, mechanics. So how are we going to run the equipment? We're constantly getting new technology, different grading machines, machines that label products, that take thousands of pictures of product in a minute. All this needs people with knowledge and people that are able to leverage overseas knowledge as well. IT, finance, water, pest and disease management, environmental. Obviously, you've got some of your more office type positions. You've HR, marketing, sales is very important, quality, variety improvement. It's just so vast, the opportunity within Costa. And some of the entry levels there are listed as well. So there's just a few pictures around from our different farms. You know, you can see there in the middle, there's a picture of a gentleman with some technology. He's got a drone. We're constantly using different technology to tell us different things. On the far right, that's in our mushroom facility. There's a lot of our packing and grading there, I can see. Training opportunities. So, you know, ultimately, if someone's looking from an entry point to get into agronomy or horticulture, there's the different type of certificates that they might want to think about. If it's specifically horticulture, we've got those listed there. A lot of our graduates also have entered with applied science, even economics, and then obviously there's the sales type positions, there's the marketing, so as well as the leadership and management stream as well. We also offer scholarships, so I have listed the avocado scholarships, and each of these are advertised on the scholarship sections in the universities around Australia. But you will see berry scholarships, you will see mushroom scholarships. So ultimately, we do have a whole range. Sometimes people, when they're studying, they do find that they have an interest in a particular crop. But, you know, one thing Costa does really well that I've noticed in my time is that cross-pollination between the categories. So some people start in mushrooms and then they might take a position in a couple of years in tomatoes. So, you know, I've certainly done that in my career, which is it's been really important because I'm continually learning new things. So the graduate program, we're about to open up this year's applications for interest. It is an aim to develop the growers of the future. We do have 3 rotations over 18 months, and that includes a lot of exposure across different regions. So they will visit our plant nurseries, our glass houses, our packing sheds, our farms. They'll spend time with quality. They'll spend time with sales and marketing. They have significant exposure to the leadership teams. So there is certainly travel, you know, outside of obviously the COVID situation. And ultimately at the end of that, we do like to offer jobs to our graduates as well. So, you know, we've got one graduate currently that really found that he was really interested in the economic space. We had one graduate that really took on the sustainability side. So there was a sustainability project where she really focused on reducing plastic wastes on strawberry farms. So that was a key interest of her. So we try to work with the graduate and their interests into what the projects that they'll work on. Ultimately, you know, working with Costa, there's a very strong focus on developing people for the future. So there's a mix of exposure, education and experience, and we try to ensure that we work with that individual on what they want to do with the future. And the ability and the scope of our operations means that we're able to do that in quite a flexible way. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much, Fiona. It's really interesting looking at how widespread Costa farms are around Australia and the different kinds of produce that you guys are responsible for. And it's, you know, so much of the food that we're eating, the fresh produce that we're eating, comes from Costa farm. Have you guys been really impacted a lot because you've got so much seasonal work? Have you been impacted greatly by COVID and the change in the seasonal workers coming from overseas? Is that something that's significant for you guys? Is there opportunity there for more Australian workers to maybe do seasonal work?
Yeah, certainly it is. We do get a mix of, you know, we try and get local recruitment as far as possible, but because of the sheer numbers, we've also had backpackers and those seasonal Pacific workers that you mentioned. Obviously, it is a lot harder to either get them into the country or keep them in the country at the moment. So we really have had to push a lot of recruitment campaigns out there to get people to start thinking about, you know, coming and helping the local provider of food in the country. So it's a good point, because we are constantly putting out information about our roles. One thing that just flagged me to think about is we do recruit all our positions on our website. People can apply there and also set up alerts for themselves. So whether that be a graduate position, a traineeship position, or any of our other positions, it's easy to set up alerts for what you might be looking for, and that can flag you in the future if a role does pop up that you would be looking for.
Thanks so much, Fiona. There are a couple of questions there. We are running short on time, but Hanny's just said, does Costa work with and in support of Indigenous cultures and communities?
Oh, yes, certainly. So, you know, we're in some vast locations, and we pride ourselves on our Indigenous employees as well. We have a diversity strategy in place as well, and we like to really recognise different days throughout the year, as well as different activities. You know, we could have Harmony Day. It's just about bringing the communities together and recognising the differences we all have and building that awareness of each other as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Fiona. We're going to have to keep moving because we've got lots of speakers to get through today. Thank you so much for joining us again. Costa's been a great supporter of this event over the years, and we're thrilled to have you back again. If anyone's got any questions that we haven't been able to reach, I'll do our best to contact you directly afterwards and have those questions answered.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Fiona.
See ya.
Now we would like to share with you some insights into Australia's thriving livestock industry. And to do that, we welcome Katie Gelling from the Human Resources Business Partner from Australian Agricultural Company, or as we like to refer to it, AACo. Hi, Katie. How are you going?
Hello. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, really well. Perfect. I'll just pull your presentation up for you.
Thank you, and thank you for having me along. First time for me presenting here today, but really excited to be having a chat to you all. So as Mel said, I'm the HR business partner for AACo. Specifically, my role looks after the pastoral and some of our corporate functions within the business, but predominantly I'm out supporting our station managers, so across all of Queensland and Northern Territory. We have 22 stations, farms and feedlots, so quite a busy and diverse role. Fortunate enough for me, I'm not often here in Brisbane. I'm out on properties as often as can be, but unfortunately with COVID, that's kind of put a halt to some of our more recent travel plans. But I guess for me today, it's really important to give you a really broad overview that we're not just, I guess, about station roles, that we have plenty of career opportunities within AA, and take you through a bit of history for those who may not be completely aware. All right, so effectively we are one of Australia's biggest beef producers or cattle companies. We've been around since 1824, so significantly long time, and have a relatively big party coming up in a couple of years. We have quite a focus on being a branded beef business, and that's definitely a strategy and a focus of where our executive team is starting to take the company of a longer term view. And we have a pretty clear focus on station to plate, environment sustainability and innovation as well. As I said, we own and operate 22 stations, farms, feedlots. We also have a group of strategic partnerships allowing us to lease several different properties as well. We have approximately 430 staff across all of those properties, and as you can see from the image, quite wide and diversely spread as well. We operate in 16 major markets, so that includes Australia, North America, the EU, the Middle East and Asia. And we also have a processing plant, Livingston, up the top north there, just outside of Darwin, which is currently mothballed at this current time, but potential for that to be utilised in the future as well, depending on where the board takes that direction. All right, so I guess at a high level, our values: do it for the diner, aim higher, embrace change, take the reins and respect what makes it possible. We have a really strong focus on ensuring that everyone from our station hands right up to our senior leadership team really understands and live by what our values are. I think they have a pretty clear relationship between what we do working with the animals, breeding, backgrounding, right through to actually supplying the end product to the customer. And so obviously we can offer career opportunities for everything along that stream as well. So a very broad overshot of what the wide level AACo team looks like. So as I was saying, we have potential career opportunities in everything from procurement right through to IT, genetics and innovation are doing some pretty amazing work for us. We have the live sales team, customer experience, legal and risk, and then obviously our pastoral and intensive operations as well. So if you're looking for something, whether it's station related, more across into the corporate side, or even within our live sales or breeding and genetics teams, we're pretty fortunate enough to be able to offer opportunities in multiple different functions. So on the environment and sustainability, we have a rangelands team who assist all of our managers with their forage budgeting and complete R&D projects in this field. We also have an internal animal health and welfare committee who are aiming to make continuous improvements within the business in this area. So it's a really exciting time for both. Obviously in environment and sustainability, it's something that's really prevalent at the moment. It's something that we're really focused on improving and seeing how we can actually make it as a leader in sustainable agriculture, for the next 200 years. So it's quite a big focus for us, and obviously an area that we'll be striving to make continuous improvements in moving forward. So for those who don't know, we have 3 predominant brands of cattle that we operate and farm. So we have our Wagyu, our Mitchell Composite, and our Brahman. Specifically, our Brahmans are located in the northern part of the NT, and then our Mitchells and Wags come down through NT across into Queensland, where we see some of our more specialised genetic and breeding programs happening there as well. So we also own and operate 2 feedlots. So we have Aranui, which is located about 20 kilometres east of Dalby, and then Gnu, which is just outside of Comet in Queensland. Obviously quite intensive, high process properties for us. And it's an area, I guess, that we're fortunate enough to be able to offer transfer and further training opportunities for staff, both from the pastoral side and vice versa down into the intensive stream as well. So the passion of our people does drive our business. Our people are key to our success. We like to see AACo, it's not just a career journey. We offer a multitude of different opportunities and hope that people will take the time to grow and develop with us. We have many people join us each year as a station hand, and they come in thinking that it is just a gap year for them, but then continue their career journey on, either still out on pastoral as a stocky and right through into head stocks and their management levels, or they try the corporate side and give that a go as well and see that they might really enjoy the opportunities and development that provides. So we actually now have one of our initial station hands who started with us many years ago is now working as our head of pastoral operations based out in the Northern Territory. So a pretty impressive success story of someone who started out straight from school with no real career path in mind and has really grown and developed within the industry and business as well. So just a bit of a snapshot of some of the specific roles that we have available. So obviously the station and livestock hand roles are pretty prevalent, as we have young employees coming straight out of school, potentially not really sure where they're wanting to go. That's a role that they'll generally be directed through to. We also have the home tutor and potential for rangelands officers or machinery operators, for those guys that may not have a specific skill set or qual behind them. They're all positions that we can offer on-the-job training and development into. Then moving into, I guess, our headstock or livestock manager roles, as well as technical assistants and station ops officers, potentially more positions that we need to actually really invest several years of experience and training into before you'd be able to really take the reins and thrive in that position. And then we have various positions across the corporate side, from marketing, people and culture to IT, that could be relevant as well, depending on your personal skills and experience. So we do offer competitive pay. All of our properties out on station offer accommodation and meals for property-based positions. We have a multitude of social events across the year. Every station participates in camp drafts. We have an annual employee challenge as well, which is housed into regions. So and I guess a large event with the ability to show the skill and development that you've learnt across the year and how you've developed, and quite a strong community environment and focus there as well. And as I said, at the end of each season, we do offer transfer opportunities, so either within the pastoral unit or across into the intensive side of the business as well. We also have a graduate program, so it's a 2-year program with rotations every 3 to 4 months. The first year of the program is focused solely around getting a on-the-ground exposure and experience to what AACo is all about. The second year then moving into a head office or other project environment, and reduced down to then 2 final rotations. So we have an intake around October each year. We have taken on 3 graduates the previous 2 years, and it's looking like we'll be taking on another 3 moving into the 2022 intake. But definitely any questions around that program or who can be a potential to apply, or even getting in touch with any of our current graduates if it's an area you're interested in, then I'm more than happy to link you up for any discussions in that space. All right, so our seasonal recruitment kicks off on the 6th of September. So we generally have an intake depending on the stock camp numbers for each year. It can vary from 30 to 70 station hands each year, just depending on operational needs. And then we also have various roles become available throughout the year. So I heavily encourage you to keep an eye on our Facebook and Instagram pages for when those positions do go live, as well as on our careers page on our website for any ad hoc vacancies that arise as well. But by all means, if there's any specific questions about roles and opportunities, then please do reach out to our HR email, and one of the team can get back to you directly as well. But thank you for listening, and any questions from the group?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Katie. Sorry, I mentioned like that. It's the questions are just starting to pop up. Do you guys offer work placements for universities, and like that for students who are required to do a work placement as part of their course, and how would they go about applying?
Yeah, definitely. It's something we can certainly look into. I know we have done that in the past. So if there is any interest specifically from the group, happy for my details to be shared, or send an email through to hr@aaco.com.au, and we can look at what specific department that may be based with and where that could be.
Yeah, great. Sorry, are there any stations that would take school-age students on a camp-style visit or experience?
Potentially something that we can look into. Again, I'd suggest just reaching out with the specific requirements of that, so then we can ask the right people the right questions to see if we can get the approvals for that. Given the location of some of the properties, we'd probably be just seeking something that is closest to that school base to limit some of the travel need.
Yeah, because some of your properties are fairly remote.
They are, yeah.
We've been one of our former graduates has been working with AACo for a number of years. She started the Stock and Station Gap Year program, and then she went finished her qualification, which she did with us and UNE. And then started in the graduate program, and she's only had fabulous things to say about working with AACo. It's been such a fabulous experience for her. So if there's any students who are interested in the livestock industry, you know, I fully recommend you line up for those alerts and sign up on their website and keep tabs on what AACo are up to, because they're really great programs that are on offer there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Katie. We are really running higher information about the Gap Year program with AACo. I think if you look at the Station Hand program on their website, is that correct, Katie?
Yeah, correct. So come 6th of September, we'll have that expression of interest live, but any questions in the meantime, send us an email and we can get back to you directly as well.
Great, thank you so much. We will keep moving because we have to stay on schedule. Thank you, Katie. For joining us today. We have a slight change to our scheduled agenda now, where our next speaker is not Trevor Whittington, but it is actually Aaron Natoli, who is the AgAcademy project officer from WAFarmers. Aaron, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, we can. Welcome. Tell us, I can't wait to hear a bit more about the AgAcademy program.
Yeah, well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from here. My name is Aaron Natoli, and I am project manager here at WAFarmers. I am here in lieu of Trevor Whittington, who's unfortunately unavailable today. So prior to actually assisting industry, I was in intensive horticulture for 10 years as part of a family business that supplied kale, radish, parsnips, and bunch carrots to Coles and Woolworths for a total of 40 years. So I have a fair understanding of what a career in ag looks like. And I know firsthand that a job in ag is a job you love. It's not a job you like. It's all about the passion. So for WAFarmers here, I run 2 particular projects as part of engagement. One is Food You Can Trust and the other is AgAcademy. And I also run their interns program where we've had a number of other disciplines come through and actually learn quite a lot about the industry. So as a just as a quick overview, Food You Can Trust, this is our social license to operate project. It's all about transparency of practice about agriculture in WA, and it's all about engaging the community. And it fits in with the AgAcademy, which is specifically designed at a year 6 level and primary school level with primary school teachers in mind, to actually give them all the resources they need to have an introductory course to ag in Western Australia. So there's the classroom resources right up the top, 5 lessons fully planned for the teacher, and then student activities already set to go. That first part then feeds into the second part, which is the school incursion or excursion. And this is where we essentially bring the farm to the school so that the students can actually ask questions about agriculture and jobs in ag that are curious about or are interesting to them. And then we round it all out with a journal in augmented reality, which is a summary of the first 2 parts in a 16-page full color journal. And then it's the engagement comes further with the design and tech component, because with a mobile device, the student is able to shear a sheep, milk a cow, and sort some fruit. So the way this actually all fits in with what we're discussing here, and obviously that I've been asked to sort of speak quite broadly about things, is within AgAcademy, we talk about the 117 different human connections. And what that actually means is that within ag, there is a minimum of 117 different jobs that you can actually have within industry. And this is largely covered within our lesson 3 as we look at jobs within Australian agriculture. We also have a number of interviews with ag professionals on our website where they talk about how they got into their chosen careers. You can actually access that on the students page as it's publicly visible. Just remember, it is written with the year 6 student in mind. So as you can see there, this is one page that's out of our resources, and this is one of 3 pages that we have. So, when the question was posed in the brief to me, what are the opportunities and roles available for young people? Well, yeah, the answer is, it's limitless. And even with some of the traditional industries, such as banker, lawyer, accountant, they can all have agricultural flavors or leaning to them where you're engaging with stakeholders within the particular industry. And I think, in reference to a lot of the farm roles, that there's, some commentary that, farm roles per se are somewhat shrinking in certain areas. But there's also, what I've seen is a greater expansion into other areas. And if we look at sort of the data over the past 10 years, between 2011 and 2016, employment overall in agriculture was actually up 4%. And there's a whole raft of different data points mentioned in that particular slide as well. But when you actually then have a look at the last 5 years, employment is actually up 17.4% within agriculture as a whole. So we are seeing more and more roles emerge in areas within ag, either in the supply chain or in support areas. And I think that what drives a lot of those supply chain and support areas is at a fundamental level, is we need to keep our agriculture industries as profitable as possible, and to remain profitable in farming when you're always being squeezed on price, or you're having to contend with rising costs, or in a changing, climatic environment, requires innovation. So, if you're going to innovate as an industry, you need to research, and all of those particular ag sciences area are all predicted to remain very strong, animal, chemical, plant, etc., going forward for the next few years. But also, I think there's going to be some emerging new areas, particularly in things like predictive analytics. Farming always harvests, no pun intended, an enormous amount of data, whether it's GPS, precision ag, cropping, weather, soil, and with the emergence of IoT devices and occasional, better high-speed internet coverage in rural areas, those devices can automate a lot of that data logging. But you're still going to need people to wade through that data, write algorithms, and then draw useful conclusions that will help farm investment and operating decisions. I know Food Agility CRC have proposed a really interesting concept about on-farm temporal spatial mapping, which looks at areas of cropping land and growing conditions to change input decisions to deliver a larger gross margin across the entire farm. I think that's really interesting work, and that brings a lot of different areas into the ag sphere. So I also wanted to mention, in the transition in terms of skills qualifications, this notion of agriculture versus agribusiness. Agriculture, very much 20th century term in the general populace. Essentially we do the same thing, every year in the exact same way in times of drought and rain. Whereas the 21st century context is that we have a greater understanding of what we do, why we do it, and not where every question is simply answered because that's the way we have always gone about it. So we are very much now evolving into more of an agribusiness context. So beyond the sciences area that requires specific bachelor and master degree achievements, and then talking more about the other farm roles, farmer, grazier, farm manager, crop farm worker, there's going to be a greater focus on having some degree of qualification, even if it is, at just a certificate level, across something like an agribusiness discipline, and that's only going to grow and become more important. I think it's simply gone beyond simple literacy to understand the basis of farming. And what I'm seeing is in the next generation of farmers, guys like Lawson Harper, who's a brand ambassador for us, who's running cattle on a station up in the Pilbara, or Harrison Partridge, who's looking to take over the family dairy business. They either studying or already have some form of bachelor agribusiness degree. And someone like Lawson Harper is going on to do a second degree as well in the ag sphere. So for Lawson, that certainly made him more able to work for a wide number of farming organisations as he looks more to learn from practical implementation of his knowledge. In discussions with Sally Peniza from the Department of Ed here in WA, she heads up the ag learning area and the ag colleges. We've certainly progressed on from where we were 10 years ago, where if you wanted to do something in ag and you were warm under the armpits and had a heartbeat, you're a walk-up start. Now there actually are waiting lists for most WA ag college courses, and that's a massive progression over the past 10 years. Okay, so we'll just have a quick look at a few roles and some different salaries. Just going across this particular slide here, we've obviously got gross weekly pay. Growth is the outlook in the next 5 years. Skill ratings are what is required to actually get into that particular role that's mentioned along the left-hand side. Workers is the total number of pool workers in that particular area. What percentage is full-time, the weekly hours, and the average age. Last column, gender, is actually the percentage of female participation within same. So within all agricultural and forestry scientists, the main sort of role within that that's been sucked up is actually in agronomy, and that is one that's obviously going to remain very strong going forward into the next few years. Crop farming, so they're the people that are making decisions actually on farm about what to sow and harvest, and those operational decisions remain stable. Horticultural operators, that's predominantly machinery side of things, and you can see there that that's predicted to be actually strong, but actually fairly low percentage of female operators, which in my experience, many of the tractor operators I had that were women were actually very, very good. And then you sort of round out something like, bookkeepers. It's, a function of many large-scale farms. That's always stable with highly transferable skills. And, packers, which is, the people that are actually putting the products in the boxes, etc., is still going to continue to evolve at a moderate rate as an entry-level job. So in terms of, why you actually do this particular, job, why do you get into ag? Your why is different for everybody. And, you're able to make a living. That's certainly true, based on what the previous slide does suggest. Are you going to get exorbitantly rich? Maybe not. But it's, your own personal motivation. And for me, it was really important that when I was farming, I was actually making something in Australia. It was an Australian-made product. And I was doing something meaningful, because something particularly in food production does support society. And that is right across the, supply chain. And it also has to be said that long hours and weekend work is not just the domain of the farmer or the farm worker. But even, buyers and distribution receivable staff at places like Coles and Woolworths, also are up early and working on weekends to meet the needs of society in terms of delivery of food. I certainly love the outdoor work, being one with nature and the elements. And I also took a little bit out of our show activation for AgAcademy, which is coming up, called Faces of AgAcademy, where you'll actually hear from 10 ag professionals about why they got into farming. And one thing that they all said was a hidden benefit was actually travel. And that's, whether you're going to conferences, overseas for work, or you're traveling interstate to work on farm, it's all one of the key benefits. And even for myself, I was lucky enough to go to the US and to Hong Kong as part of Asia Fruit Logistica, New Zealand, and all along the eastern seaboard. So job progression, job diversity. It's a really interesting one, because it all depends, which part of the 117 different, jobs that you get into, because there are a lot of variables. Progression really depends on what job and what part of the industry you enter into, and how long before you reach a particular point of mastery within that role. Some roles are limited based on knowledge, with effectively no progression. Others have progression based around seniority of experience. It's all different depending. They're now talking about, 4 years as an error in work, and the job seekers will have multiple jobs during their career. While I think that ag tends to lend itself to greater longevity in roles, which is positive, the modern job market is more about adaptability. And even if you don't stick with what you trained for as an initial role, there will always be other opportunities within ag to deploy to another part of the supply chain. And I've seen many with a technical background transfer into client-facing roles, whether it was within an ag input supplier or back to a conventional industry that supports ag, like banking. And that's where, if you know a little bit of everything via an agribusiness discipline, that can really help. Being a generalist will enable you to be hired for your skills in a related industry. So just quickly in summary, there's a wide array of jobs. So, choose your passion. Qualifications are vital. Agribusiness and business administration requirements within industry are indeed right. Written and verbal communication is still important. That's certainly not going away. And you can certainly make a living from something that you're passionate about, which is a really positive thing. Progression is possible, but you may have to think laterally about how you go about that if you pick something that doesn't actually give you a particular pathway to something else. And just, in closing, really, COVID brings volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity to our daily lives, but everyone still needs to eat and be clothed. Thus, the future for ag is certainly growing strong in certain areas, moderate in terms of others. but also as a little bit of a rider, there are a few areas which are also contracting. So yep, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that information, Aaron. It was really interesting stuff to hear, and it's so true that we all need to eat and we all need fibre for our clothes. And the ag industry, even though it's changing and constantly evolving, and new technology will impact the way that we farm, it's an industry that's not going to disappear, and there really are so many different job opportunities that are available. Does anybody have any questions for Aaron about the Ag Academy programs or anything else? Can't see any questions popping up there just at the moment, but thank you so much for your time, Aaron. It's
my pleasure.
It was great to see that these programs are getting rolled out. Kim, can people from other states contact you about your primary school programs?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have sign-ups in both New South Wales and in Victoria. So yeah, happy to speak to anybody that is interested in the Ag Academy, because it does provide a really great template for teachers to communicate agriculture to students.
Fantastic, that's great news. We'll share that information when we send out the recording on how to get in touch with you and sign up for those programs. Thank you so much, Aaron. I'm going to keep moving along because we are
thank you.
On a tight schedule. So thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you. Our next speaker is a current RuralBiz student, Emma Boland. So Emma has been studying with RuralBiz on and off for a few years now, and is currently based in Cowra in New South Wales and working as a livestock production advisor for Delta Ag. Are you there, Emma?
Hi, Mel. Yes, I am.
Hi, thanks for joining us, Emma.
Thank you so much for having me. I must say I'm a little bit nervous, but I am excited.
We're excited too. Nothing to be nervous. Can you see your presentation there?
Yep, that should be all good to go.
Take it away.
Beautiful. Well, as Mel said, I'm Emma Boland. I'm a livestock production advisor for Delta Agribusiness, and I'm based in Cowra, which is Central West New South Wales. Effectively, my role is to meet with farmers and potential clients of ours to talk about their livestock production needs and how I can benefit them and help them get the most out of their obviously stocking livestock. Prior to this job, I was a stock and station agent, so I understand sort of both parts of what I do, the management side as well as the selling side, and where we want our stock to go and what's the sort of, I guess, benchmarks and ranges that we want stock to be in. And I guess that's where I come in handy, is for clients, whether they're sheep or cattle, is to get their cattle or sheep production business doing the best it absolutely can. So for me to get to this role, I did a lot of training in merchandise. I spent a lot of time working for Nutrien, or was then Landmark, now Nutrien, and for Delta, working in merchandise, selling product, and just getting out and knowing what customers want, what's the best, I guess, best option for their business. Every business is different, every customer is different. So yeah, it's very interesting. Every day is definitely not the same. And at the moment, I'm doing a fair bit of pasture work and crop work with our agronomist as well, which is interesting, seeing all the different sides of things. And I'm getting pretty good at looking at weeds at the moment with the rain. So obviously that's just some pictures of what I do. I'm looking at chickpeas there, some wheat, oats, lucerne. We grow a lot of that down home, a lot of cereals, and a lot of lucerne production. So I see quite a bit of that, canola, and then obviously spending time in the yards with farmers after shearing, applying backliners, things like that, helping them just work out what's the best option for their stock at that current time. And obviously getting the sheds when they're shearing, delivering products, things like that. My role is also a bit to do with the business development of the Delta business in Cowra. So Delta's prime aim is to, or their purpose is to partner with farmers to make the right decisions, and you'll see that on my presentation there. Delta is a business that absolutely believes in fulfilling their purpose, and they're a great business to work for in that respect, that they want you as an employee to make the best decision for each and every farmer, or help them make the best decision for their farm. So yeah, just to highlight into a few of my what I do during the day. It varies from day to day. I can go into the day thinking that I will start one thing and don't end up getting to that, but certainly keeps me busy. So Delta as a group, that just shows the footprint of Delta. So we have a store right up in Gundawindi, all the way through New South Wales and into Victoria, which is, we took on the Northwest Ag branch or business there. And then as of the 1st of July, we took over the David Gray's and ARH business in Western Australia. So that's really exciting for Delta. They are constantly on the move, picking up new businesses where they can, and trying to expand their footprint across Australia and be known as a company that is an independent as well as a business that is there for everyone. So Delta on a whole, we do obviously animal production. We have agronomists across the country, so a great team of agronomists. We sell fertiliser, obviously chemical, pretty much anything that you need for your farm, so seed, feed, and offer different variations of anything depending on what area you're in. So around home we're lucky enough at Cowra to have Fred Fay, who is an aerial spreader, who you'll see there in that picture. That is actually one of his planes. He is it can spread fertiliser, spray chemical. He also has a contract with the RFS, so he's often flying around putting out fires during summer. But we work very closely with Fred to offer that solution when it is, like at the moment, down home, too wet to get on paddocks to spray or seed or spread. So Fred comes in handy with that. Delta also have a contract vet, which is Paul Cusack. So Paul is on hand for anyone, and I work quite a bit with Paul because he's based in Cowra as well, to get the best for people if they're setting up feedlots. Paul is the head of the Australian Livestock Production Services, or ALPS. So they create a product, or they manufacture a product called Calciumag, which we use and recommend nearly to everyone. So Calciumag is just a good calcium magnesium lick, but it's got different benefits, obviously for different enterprises. So lucky enough to work with Paul on a regular basis with people, setting up feedlots, having issues getting the right nutrition happening. Paul's very focused on the nutrition, but he's also good for those curly questions that we might see as well, being a vet. So again, why I chose RuralBiz, I guess I studied a advanced diploma of ag business through RuralBiz. Finished that in 2020, and I've just started doing my diploma of agriculture. So I chose RuralBiz because I work full time, I work long hours. I do like to have a bit of a social life. I am an active camp drafter, active in the community. So RuralBiz is really good because it's so flexible. It means that I didn't have to give up anything that I enjoy doing outside of work. I didn't have to take time off work to actually study. It's so flexible. There's been a couple of times where I've had huge weeks and just can't get assessments done. The team have always been really, really happy to extend that. I've never felt hugely pressured with RuralBiz, and it's so flexible that if I'm quiet and I don't have much to do, I can smash out a couple of subjects very quickly, and there's no time restriction on that, which is great. The practical assessments is something I found really helpful. All the assessments you do are based on your farm or a farm you have access to. So I did base it off my own farm, or my parents' farm, but it was very handy that I could then turn around and implement it into, like straight away while I was doing that assessment, implement it into someone else's planning or enterprise someone that I was working with. So I found those assessments really practical. I have done a bit of university study as well, and the assessments are all hands-on. with RuralBiz. They're all very relevant to what you are doing, and you can actually see the benefits of doing those assessments and implement them straight into your own farm or someone else's. The subject content, I guess it goes the same for the assessments. It's very practical. It's very easy to understand. I never found anything above what I was looking for. You know, it was always very clear, useful, and helped very much with the assessments as well. The ag forums are something that I really enjoy. I love listening to other people and what they what are they doing on their farms, where they're from, just a little bit about what they're seeing, and that's pretty much what the ag forums are. They're a great little interactive tool that you can get on as many times as you like, really, and listen to see what people are doing in your course, in other courses. Yeah, it's pretty cool just to get an idea of what's going on in the world outside your own little sort of town and area. And the staff and student culture, like the other students, are great to talk to, always really happy to have a chat about what's going on, or if you've got an assessment question. And the staff, I haven't had a better experience with staff. They're always willing to give you a hand and help you when you need. I know the support is there, and it's great to just have that backing, that, you know, you've got someone supporting you the whole way through your study. And what I like about all the course directors and stuff is that they all have their own farms. They're all involved in the community, so or in their own sort of regional area, which is great as well. So yeah, that's pretty much my role, like my sort of thing with RuralBiz, how I felt about studying.
Thank you so much, Ella. It's great to see the work that you're doing, and it's also really great to hear how your course is fitting in around the work. Now, you started with a bit of university study, and then you've come into the vocational system and done your advanced diploma, and now you've jumped back into your diploma level. How do you find that the vocational training is different to what you have done in your university subjects?
Yeah, so university, I found for what my lifestyle and my work, it was very hard to keep on top of. I found that it was so set, and I think RuralBiz is so flexible and just took the pressure off. I am someone that likes to put a lot on my plate, and I tend to burn the candle at both ends and multiple places in the middle. So RuralBiz really fit in with my life. And I just found it so much easier. I find that the subject content and the assessments are all very much the same. It's not a difference in the actual presentation of the or the information that you're given. I find that it's exactly the same. It's just more, I guess, developing that in a different way. So you're developing your information hands-on, where at uni it's a lot of just lectured at you, and if you don't understand, if you're not comfortable enough to ask that question, you can get left behind, which I think I never felt like that in RuralBiz.
Yeah, I think one of our strengths is really being able to personalise people's learning to their goals. And just a little side note, Emma, Ange, our training manager, who you would have come into contact with while you've been studying with us, has just noted that it's been amazing to watch the way that your career's developed from when you first started studying with us. So thank you for giving us a little bit of an insight today into what your experience has been like. You've been a pleasure to have as a student, and we wish you all the best as your career continues. As we're sure.
Thank you very much.
Now, look, guys, I'm just going to jump in and run you through a little bit about what RuralBiz Training does do, and give you a few resources to go to, so that you've got somewhere to go looking for more information and advice about how to kickstart your career in agriculture, the different training options that are available, and you know, different opportunities that you might be able to chase down. So that's just a little bit of a word blast there. Just some of the careers that have been mentioned today. One thing that we're really aware of is just how many hundreds of different careers you could have in agriculture. It's so diverse. You can be a scientist, you can work on a farm involved in production, you can look at agribusiness and economics, human resources. Basically every every career you can imagine can be tied back into agriculture. So if it's something that you're passionate about, particularly if you're keen on working in a rural area, you know, there's a career in ag that's out there for you. One of the great places where you can go to check out resources and get more information about courses for agriculture or related is to the Primary Industries Education Foundation website, which is called Career Harvest. They list, they have a bit of a like career explorer tool there. They list a lot of scholarships, scholarship opportunities that are coming up around the traps, and there are so many scholarships in agriculture available these days, so keep an eye out. I'll touch on a couple more of those later. But lots of useful information about job summaries, courses and career opportunities. So check those out. In state by state, you can search for the courses that are going to get you where you want to go. The myskills.gov.au is the national vocational education skills website. So if you want to search for courses near you, go and have a look there. And then all of the state government skills websites are listed there, where you can go and seek out information about training courses that are available in your states and what subsidies or incentives there might be to help you get into those courses. And there's a wide variety available. A little bit about how the Australian Qualifications Framework works. So you're not quite sure whether to go to uni or do an apprenticeship or traineeship or look at a TAFE course or a diploma course with somebody. This is what the Australian Qualifications Framework looks like. It goes from Certificate 1 right up to a doctoral degree. So from level 1 to level 6, so from Certificate 1, 2, 3, 4, diploma, advanced diploma, are covered under the vocational education system. The courses that we offer at RuralBiz range from Certificate 3, 4, diploma and advanced diploma. You'll see that bracketed there. And then the university system or the tertiary system covers from AQF level 5, which is your diploma, through to your doctoral degree. So you can see that there's quite a lot of overlap there between what you can study through a training organisation such as RuralBiz or TAFE and what you can study at a university system. So the other important thing to note with that is that most universities will recognise any study that you do at diploma or advanced diploma level as it falls under part of their qualification framework as well. So if you decide that you want to start off with a diploma, you can apply to your university in future to have that training recognised as and perhaps get advanced standing if you want to apply for uni in the future. We just offer agriculture courses. We have a range of short courses available, but also Certificate 4, diploma and advanced diploma. And I am just flying through these because we're almost out of time. One thing that RuralBiz is really great at is that we have a number of different study options available. Most of our students are studying online and using their own farm or a farm that they work on or have access to as a basis for their assessment tasks. And the students that fall into that category is anyone from recent school leavers who are doing, who just want to do some study but they're not interested in going to uni, or they want to have a gap year and work on the farm, or to people who are in the middle of their farming careers. Maybe they've been working on farm for 10 years or more and they're in their 40s and they want to improve their skills, understand more about their production, understand more about their farm business and how their business affects their farming decisions and their production affects their business decisions. We do have 2 on-campus options available for students and a range of different programs that run out of those campuses. So one is in Armidale in New South Wales and the other one is at Muresk Institute in Western Australia at Northam. And there's some really great programs there if you want to study agriculture full time. If you enrol on one of those on-campus things, we do our best to offer students not only the best qualification possible, but a range of practical experiences and industry engagement experiences that are going to enrich your education and make you really, really employable. This is a quick list of the specialist study areas that we offer. We are really focused on making sure that we have we offer the right courses for students. So we only enrol students who these courses, are really suitable for. So we look at agriculture, agribusiness, applied agronomy, production, horticulture, and community coordination facilitation. Agriculture we offer from Certificate 4 and Diploma level, agribusiness from Certificate 4, Diploma and Advanced Diploma. Applied Agronomy is a new nationally recognised course that's just been registered, and we're currently the only provider, or one of the only providers that's offering that course, and there are some additional entry requirements for that course, but if you're interested in a career in agronomy, that's a great one to look at. Production horticulture does not cover amenities horticulture or working for your local council. This is if you're interested in farming-based horticulture, so crops of avocados, grapes, apples, whatever, that kind of horticulture. Community coordination facilitation is a special course that we've developed for people who work with networks such as land care groups and similar things to that, to be able to build up how they develop those community networks within regional and rural areas. We do have a lot of students that come in and ask us about gap year options. They might have a job working on a farm or a station, but don't want to get left behind in terms of qualifications. So it gives you the opportunity to work, learn on the job, earn some money, but also to get your qualification. And we have the flexibility, as Emma mentioned, that you can fit our study in around your work. And don't forget that if you do then want to go into university, you are likely to get advanced standing or credit for any study you've done at diploma or above. Don't be scared off studying by the potential. If you're worried about not being able to afford it, there are a whole range of funding options that are available. Most state governments will offer subsidies for training in agriculture as a priority industry. We currently have access to subsidies to students who are living or working in Queensland, New South Wales, Tasmania, South Australia, and Western Australia. We also are a vet student loan registered provider. So vet student loan is where the Commonwealth Government will assist you in paying your course fees, and you repay that loan through the tax system when your income reaches a certain threshold, and that is available no matter what state you're from, as long as you meet some eligibility like citizenship requirements, and it's available on diploma and advanced diploma courses. We also do have payment plan options that we can customise to suit you. Scholarships, as I mentioned before, there are so many scholarships available. Check them out on the Career Harvest website. I've got a couple here that I just wanted to highlight. One is the Rural and Regional Enterprise Scholarships. These are across a range of STEM-based subjects and can be used for the course of your choice, from Certificate 4 to degree level courses. You can study full-time, part-time, can be online, can be on campus, and your home address must be from a regional or remote area in Australia. If you want more information about that, jump on the Queensland qtac.edu.au site to look at those and check when the next round is open. But they've been available for the last 3 or 4 years, and with really generous scholarships to help get people studied in those priority industry areas. RuralBiz Training does offer a couple of scholarships every year. The last 2 or 3 years we've awarded 2 full scholarships to diploma students, and they'll be advertised through the Future Farmers Network and our website later in the year. One scholarship that's available at the moment is to do the Diploma of Agriculture and Advanced Diploma of Agribusiness Management with scholarship payments of up to $30,000. So if you're interested in those, please touch. We'll send you some more information. Look, this is just a few photos of some of our students who are going about on the farm. So you'll see there some soil samplings being done and some crop inspections, motorbike training by students over in Western Australia, and a few happy snaps as well. So I just included these because I really wanted to highlight that the students who are studying our courses, they are super practical. We are getting you out into the paddock all the time, and that's regardless of whether you're studying with us on campus or if you're an online remote learning student. So really relevant, really practical, really hands-on is what we're about. Any schools out there, if you want some information about courses to pass out to your students or posters for your school, please let us know. We'll send those out to you. And we just, love your career in ag. There's so many opportunities available, and we can't wait to help you find your pathway. We are approaching 1 o'clock. I don't want to keep anyone here too long, but if you do have any questions, I would be very happy to take any questions you might have now. Ringers from the top end have also just posted up in the chat box there their job board where they offer a lot of cattle station work, and some more information there about salary expectations. So please, check those out as well. There is so much information available. Now, if anyone hasn't popped their school name into the chat box for our Lucky Door prize, it is your last chance now. We've got a great HD camera drone gizmo to give away to a school who we hope will be able to use it to inspect their ag farm and maybe send us a video. So if you haven't put your school name into the chat box now, last little chance. Give you 30 seconds to do that. Just getting the, and I'd just like to also, just before we draw that prize, take a moment to thank all of the speakers we've had today. Really fantastic that they could be so generous with their time and share that information with us. Aggregate Ag, Erica, thank you so much. Elders, Melanie, Rowse, Costa, Fiona, Bell, Australian Agricultural Company, Katie Gelling, WAFarmers, Aaron Natoli, and Emma Boland. Thank you so much for all your time. Oh, just grabbing a couple of school names. Just bear with us. Thank you. 2 seconds. Oh, last chance. Also, I'm just going to post up a little link to a survey, just if you've got any feedback to offer about today's presentation. We would love to hear that feedback. It helps us make each presentation better as the years go by. All right. Yep. Okay, here we go. Lucky draw time. Turn the camera on so you can see I'm actually doing. And the winner is Portland Central School. Congratulations, Portland Central School. We'll soon be in touch with sending out that drone for your school to use, and we'd love to have a video in response. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. The recording will be available and a link will be emailed out to everyone who's registered. We hope you really enjoyed the presentation, and we hope you will think about, your career options in ag. Don't hesitate to get in touch if you've got any questions. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.